What is up, you guys? This is JP, and today I'm gonna answer the question, can you lose muscle and gain strength at the same time? So this isn't gonna be a video that you guys are probably gonna be able to walk away and implement anything with too much, but this is more for the people who, again, want to, well, one, just want to know the answer to this question, and two, again, me explaining this will help you guys kind of take away a little bit, just so you guys understand, again, the kind of relationship between hypertrophy, gaining muscle, and strength. So again, one common question that I've actually been asked before is, can you get stronger and get smaller, AKA lose muscle at the same time? And one, yes, I'll just straight up say yes, it is possible. Two, depending upon your training style, obviously that's gonna matter, your current training style too. And then three, your diet, that's going to play a big factor. But first, let's talk about strength a little bit. There's three main things that make up strength. One is going to be neurological adaptation. So again, the example that I like to use is, think of your muscle fibers like a rowboat. If you had a rowboat on a river and you had 10 people on each side, if you wanted to get from point A to point B as fast as possible on the rowboat, the worst way to do that would be to have all the people row at different times. They're all rowing whenever they feel like it. They're all rowing pretty weakly. They're all rowing really slow. You're gonna get from point A to point B in the boat really slowly. Now, if you wanna get from point A to point B really fast, you, one, start having everyone row at the same time, which is how your muscle fibers work. They start contracting at the same time. Two, they start rowing harder. And three, the people would start rowing faster. These are really good, it's a really good analogy for muscle fibers. They start firing in unison, they fire faster, you start recruiting more muscle fibers, because again, it's a weird fact, but voluntarily, humans aren't able to contract muscle tissue 100% of it. So even if you squeeze as hard as you can, not all muscle fibers are going to be contracted at the same time. So you'll never have 100% of your quadriceps muscle fibers contracting. So these three main things that's the first thing that makes up strength. It's neurological adaptation. The second thing that makes up strength is going to be skill acquisition, getting skilled in the lift. So even if you do have neurological adaptation, which is you lifting heavy, that's how you get that neurological adaptation, you still have to be skilled in the lift. So for example, you can do heavy deadlifts and start getting adapted neurologically, but if you are doing the deadlifts with bad form, AKA with a rounded back, the bar moves away from your body, those types of things, that's going to make the lift harder or more inefficient. So for example, on a deadlift, if the bar drifts a little bit further away from you, that's going to increase the moment arm for your lumbar vertebrae. That's gonna make it harder on them. It's gonna make it harder on your hip extensors. It's just gonna be harder overall. So again, that's the second main thing that's going to drive strength. The third thing is going to be the amount of muscle mass you have on you. So that's going to be a direct effect, obviously, of hypertrophy training. So if you had two clones of you, clone A and clone B, and everything was the same except clone B had more muscle, then obviously that person's going to lift more. Now, there are a lot of other factors that affect strength. I can go down, there's dozens and dozens, but these are the three main ones. Now, how does losing muscle mass obviously affect strength? Like I said a little bit ago, is if you have less muscle mass, your muscle fibers aren't as large, and those smaller muscle fibers contracting aren't gonna produce as much force, which means obviously you're gonna be pushing less weight. But if you're someone who has not been lifting heavy recently, let's just say you're someone who sticks to the higher rep ranges, you're not getting the specificity from heavy weights. You're not getting that neurological adaptation. Yeah, you might be getting skill acquisition because you could do high rep deadlifts, for example, but I still think there's a skill component to lifting heavy. Your form changes, things get a little bit different. With lightweight, you can kind of get away with certain things that you can't get away with heavy form. So if you take someone, for example, who's doing a lot more, reps, and you have them do a lot less reps. Let's just say they go from an extreme of never below 10 reps to most of their work being 6 reps and less. Because this person is doing less volume, I'm assuming they'd be doing less volume most likely. I really doubt they'd be doing a lot more sets to make up for it. Then this person is also going to start losing muscle mass. But at that same time though, because they're getting that increased neurological adaptation and specificity in regards to having that skill with working with heavier loads, those two categories might go up. So the neurological adaptation and skill acquisition might increase, whereas their muscle mass might drop a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, Mike Zordos actually had I think he was involved in a study that actually showed this, that even though these people decreased a little bit of muscle, their strength went up because, again, they worked on and got better at the components of strength that are not tied to hypertrophy. So muscle mass is only that one component. So if that goes down, but all the other components of strength go up, you become more confident in the lift. You know, again, your skill goes up, those other factors go up. You can end up getting stronger with less muscle mass. Now, this is, again, an extreme because most people who lift are gonna lift heavy at some times. And again, too, if you're losing muscle mass or you're losing weight, you gotta be careful of that, because if you're cutting way too hard, you might lose so much muscle that even if you get better in these first two categories, you can't really override that. So again, all in all, it just depends on, again, the degree to muscle loss that you have, and it depends on how much strength training you were doing before. If you were already doing a lot of strength training and you're losing a bunch of muscle, you can't reap a lot of those benefits from these other categories that have to do with strength. But again, if it's an extreme, like you're someone who goes from some high reps to now you're switching strictly to the strength stuff, or again, also too, if you just increase the frequency of that lift, if you go from 1 times benching to 3 times benching, you might get so good at bench that, again, you can make up for that loss of muscle mass. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.